I was sitting at the edge of my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning the other night, just staring at the floor of my bedroom here in Scottsdale. My left calf was knotted up like a piece of old rusted wire, and no matter how I rubbed it or tried to stretch it out, that deep, rhythmic twitching just wouldn't let go. I reached over to my nightstand and looked at that little plastic bottle of magnesium glycinate I'd been taking for months. The label promised better sleep and a calm nervous system, but there I was, wide awake, watching the shadows of the palm trees dance on the wall while my muscles refused to relax. It's a frustrating thing, isn't it? You follow the advice, you spend your hard-earned money on the supplements the people on the television say you need, and yet you still find yourself staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night, wondering if you're just doing it all for nothing. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, in a house where we didn't have a lot of fancy solutions for things. My father worked in a manufacturing plant for 40 years, and he believed that if a machine wasn't running right, you check the fuel and you check the oil. He didn't believe in quick fixes. He believed in the foundation. But in the world we live in now, it seems like we've moved away from that foundation. We've been told that we can just take a capsule and fix whatever is out of balance. After 81 years on this earth and after spending most of my life working in health education, I've started to realize that the body doesn't work that way. It doesn't want isolated chemicals. It wants the whole story. It wants the partners and the enzymes that come from the earth. That little bottle on my nightstand was only giving me a small piece of the puzzle, and my body was trying to tell me that the rest was missing. I talked to my daughter Laura about this last Sunday. She's been a registered nurse over in Phoenix for a long time, and she sees folks coming in every day with the same complaints. They're taking their magnesium, but their blood pressure is still high, or their legs are still cramping, or they're still feeling that racing anxiety when they try to close their eyes. She explained to me that when you take a magnesium pill, you're giving your body a lone traveler, but in nature, magnesium never travels alone. It arrives with its family, with natural fibers, plant compounds, and trace minerals that act like a map, showing the magnesium exactly where it needs to go. Without that map, most of that supplement just passes right through you, ending up in the plumbing instead of in your cells. It's like trying to get a heavy piece of machinery into a factory without a forklift or a crew to help move it. You might have the machine at the front door, but it's never going to get to the work floor where it's needed. That conversation got me thinking about the foods we used to eat back in Ohio and the things I see people pass by every day at the grocery store here in Arizona. I started looking into the research. I spent a lot of my late nights reading these clinical journals because I want to understand the why behind what's happening to us. I found that there are 5 specific foods that deliver this mineral in a way that's so much more effective than a capsule that it almost makes those bottles in the pharmacy look like a waste of time. These foods don't just provide the magnesium. They provide the environment it needs to actually stay in your body and do its job. After 60, our bodies aren't as efficient as they used to be at grabbing nutrients out of the air, so we have to be smarter about how we deliver them. The first thing I started paying attention to was something I used to ignore at the market. I'd walk right past those big, dark green leaves with the colorful stems, not knowing I was walking past a gold mine. It's called Swiss chard. Most folks don't know what to do with it, so they just leave it there. But a single cup of that greens, once you cook it down, has almost a third of what you need for the whole day. But it's not just the amount that matters. Laura pointed me toward a study from a few years back that looked at people taking supplements versus people eating these leafy greens. The folks eating the greens actually had higher levels of magnesium in their blood, even though they were technically consuming less on paper. The researchers called it the food matrix effect. I like to think of it like the way my father used to talk about the ironwork at the plant. You can't just have the metal, You need the heat, the carbon, and the cooling process to make it strong. In Swiss chard, you get the magnesium along with things called betalains. These are powerful antioxidants that quiet down the inflammation in your gut. If your digestive tract is inflamed, it's like trying to pour water through a clogged pipe. Nothing is getting through. Those betalains clean the pipe so the magnesium can actually be absorbed. I've started sautéing it in a little olive oil with some garlic for about 4 minutes until it wilts. The oil is important too because it helps you absorb the other vitamins in there. I'll squeeze a little fresh lemon over it right at the end. That little bit of acid makes the minerals even more available to your body. Since I started having a cup of that a few times a week, I've noticed my mood just feels a bit steadier, like the foundation of the house is a little more level. But as good as those greens are, there's something else that's even more dense, something I've started keeping in a little bowl on my kitchen island. It's pumpkin seeds. Ounce for ounce, those tiny seeds have more magnesium than almost anything else on the planet. Just a small handful has as much as a heavy-duty supplement. But the real reason they work better is because they bring their own escort. They're packed with zinc and healthy fats. My son Daniel, who's a physical therapist up in Denver, told me that zinc is a cofactor for hundreds of reactions in the body. When magnesium and zinc arrive together, it's like a well-trained crew showing up to a job site. They know exactly how to work together to get the magnesium inside the cells. Most people make a mistake with pumpkin seeds, though. They eat them raw, or they buy them heavily salted and roasted in cheap oils. I learned that raw seeds have something called phytic acid in them. It's a defense mechanism for the plant, and it binds to minerals like magnesium, preventing your body from grabbing them. It's like a lock on a door. To unlock it, I soak my seeds in a bit of filtered water with a pinch of sea salt for about 10 hours. Then I dry them out in a low oven until they're crispy. That soaking process breaks down that phytic acid and lets the magnesium go free. I've been having a couple of tablespoons a day, and I can tell you, my nighttime leg cramps have almost entirely disappeared. It's a lot cheaper than those bottles of pills, and it's a lot more satisfying to have a real snack than to swallow another capsule. Now, the third one is something that I think most of us have in our pantry right now, but we don't think of it as a medical tool. It's black beans. I used to think of beans as just a side dish at a summer barbecue, but the science behind them is fascinating. A cup of those beans has a good amount of magnesium, but the real magic is what they do to your gut environment. There was a study just last year that found the starch in black beans actually feeds the good bacteria in your digestive system. Those bacteria then produce something that increases your body's ability to absorb minerals by over 50%. So, black beans don't just give you magnesium, they remodel the factory so it's better at processing everything else you eat. They have these dark pigments called anthocyanins that protect the little doorways in your gut that let minerals into your blood. As we get older, those doorways can get damaged or worn out. The beans act like a maintenance crew, keeping those doors in good working order. I've started making a habit of having them 3 or 4 times a week. I buy the dried ones, soak them overnight to make them easy on the stomach, and cook them with a little bit of seaweed to add some extra minerals. It's a simple routine, but after a month I could feel the difference in how much energy I had during the day. Then there's the salmon. Most people talk about salmon for the heart or the brain because of those omega-3 fats, and that's all true. But wild-caught salmon is a magnesium delivery system that operates in a way a pill simply cannot. I was reading a report from the British Journal of Nutrition that said the magnesium in salmon is wrapped in these protein and fat complexes that let it bypass the normal limits of the gut. It's like having a VIP pass to a show. It doesn't have to wait in line with all the other minerals. It goes straight into the bloodstream and right into the cell membranes. The reason this matters so much after 60 is because our cell membranes get a bit stiffer as we age. They're not as flexible as they used to be. But the omega-3s and the magnesium in salmon speak the same language as those membranes. They integrate right into them, helping to calm down your nerves and relax your muscles. There was a trial in Japan that found folks who ate wild salmon regularly had much lower levels of cortisol, that stress hormone that keeps you awake at night. I make sure to buy the wild-caught stuff, the sockeye or the coho, because the farm-raised fish don't have the same mineral density. They're fed pellets instead of the natural diet that builds those minerals. I bake it gently at a lower temperature so I don't damage those delicate bonds between the fats and the minerals. It's a bit of an investment, but I look at it as an investment in my sleep and my sanity. But there is one food that stands above all the rest. It's the one that genuinely shocked me when I looked at the clinical data. It's dark chocolate. Now, I'm not talking about the sugary bars you see at the checkout counter. I'm talking about the real stuff, at least 85% cacao. It is the most effective source of bioavailable magnesium that researchers have ever tested. And it's not just because of the magnesium itself. It's because of a compound in there called theobromine. This was the part that really made me sit up and take notice. There was a study in 2023 that found theobromine increases how much magnesium your cells can actually hold on to by over 300%. Think about that for a second. It's like having a bucket with a hole in the bottom versus a bucket that's solid and tight. Most supplements are like the leaky bucket. The magnesium goes in, but it doesn't stay. The dark chocolate, because of that theobromine, opens up specific channels in your cells and then helps them keep the mineral inside. The study showed that people who had just an ounce of that dark chocolate every day had much higher levels of magnesium inside their cells than people taking 400 milligrams of a supplement. I've started having 1 or 2 squares about half an hour after dinner. I let it melt slowly on my tongue because that helps the theobromine start absorbing through the mouth before it even hits the stomach. It's become a little ritual for me. It's a lot more pleasant than choking down a large pill, and the results have been transformative. My mind doesn't race as much when I turn out the lights, and that tight feeling I used to get in my shoulders is just gone. It's like the off switch for my nervous system finally started working again. I look at the world differently now than I did when I was a younger man in Ohio. Back then, we thought we could conquer everything with technology and industry. But as I've aged, I've realized that nature already figured out the hard parts. It figured out how to package these minerals so they actually work. We spend millions of dollars trying to replicate it in a laboratory, but we always leave something out. We leave out the coactors, we leave out the fibers, we leave out the partners that make the whole thing functional. When you sit there at night and your legs are twitching or your mind is buzzing with all the worries of the day, I want you to remember that your body isn't failing you. It's just asking for the right tools. It's asking for the foundation to be rebuilt. You don't have to go out and buy a dozen different bottles of pills. You just have to go to the grocery store and look for the greens, the seeds, the beans, the fish, and that dark chocolate. After 60, the things that matter the most are the small, consistent habits we build. The way we nourish ourselves is the way we protect our independence. I think about my father sometimes, and how he would have laughed at the idea of me eating Swiss chard and dark chocolate to stay healthy. He was a meat and potatoes man through and through, but he was also a man who respected the truth, and the truth is that our bodies change. What worked for us at 40 isn't enough at 80. We have to be more deliberate. We have to listen when the body doesn't ask twice. If you're struggling with your sleep or your muscles, I want you to try something for me. Pick 2 of these foods, maybe the pumpkin seeds and the chocolate, and start having them every day for 2 weeks. Don't worry about the supplements for a moment. Just give your body the whole food matrix and see what happens. I think you'll be surprised at how quickly the lights start to come back on. You'll find that you aren't just getting magnesium, you're getting a sense of calm that you haven't felt in years. There's a kind of dignity in taking care of yourself this way. It's not about fighting age. It's about honoring the life you've lived by giving your body the respect it deserves. We've all seen people our age who have just given up, who think that pain and poor sleep are just the way it has to be. I don't accept that. I'm 81, and I plan on being here, active and sharp, for a long time yet. And it's because I stopped looking for miracles in a bottle and started looking for them on my dinner plate. I want to hear from you, though. Are you taking one of those magnesium supplements right now? And have you felt like it was actually doing what it promised? I read through everything you tell me, and I respond because I care about the people in this community. We're all learning this together, and your experience is just as valuable as any study I read at 2 in the morning. Tell me your age, and tell me if you're ready to try a different way. The sun is starting to get a bit higher over the red rocks now, and I can hear the neighborhood waking up. I'm going to go inside and get some of those pumpkin seeds I soaked yesterday into the oven. It's a good day to be alive, and it's a good day to take another step towards staying independent and strong. There is still so much time for us to get this right. Don't let anyone tell you that your best years are behind you just because your joints are a little stiff today. We're going to keep talking about these truths, the ones they don't always tell you at the doctor's office. We're going to keep looking for the ways to stay present for our families and our friends, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about being there for the graduations, the weddings, and the quiet mornings on the porch. It's about being the person who still has something to say and the strength to say it. I'm going to head in now. Take care of yourselves. Stay curious about what your body is trying to tell you. And remember, the earth has already given us what we need. We just have to be wise enough to reach for it. I'll be right here on this porch again soon, and I hope to see you then. Take care of your foundation, and it will take care of you.